What's up, everybody? Tiffany Outdoors here. Today we're going to be bringing it indoors and we're going to build a mini terrarium or enclosure. Stay tuned. There's the hawk. Before there was a Tiffany Outdoors, there was Tiffany the Farmer.
On a U-turn when possible.
No, we're not U-turning.
Hi. Hi, what are you doing? Hi, boo.
So for this build, you're going to need some silicone, and I had a hard time figuring out which silicone was non-toxic. So the one that's non-toxic is the silicone 1. I was buying a bunch of tubes of the silicone 2 thinking it was that one. It's not. Get the silicone 1. Although some people say that there's no difference between them once it dries. But to be on the safe side, I went and bought silicone 1. And it's all-purpose by GE. And I also have a caulk gun, painter's tape. I've got a little razor scraper. And this right here is one of those little caulk savers that you put in after you're done so it doesn't dry up inside the tube. And I also, now, this is my first time building one of these, so I'm using the cheaper acrylic sheets. And as a lot of people have stated before me attempting this, the acrylic sheets, they're bowed. So this is going to be my test run on how to do one of these, and then my next one I'm going to use the plexiglass. But this one, I'm going to go with the acrylic, and let's go ahead and get started. And you're also going to need like a knife or a blade or something to cut the acrylic with. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing I need to do is take 2 of these sheets, and these are, I'll show you up close. These are, and I got these at, I think at Lowe's. They're 8x10 acrylic sheets, and they're made by Optics. So you're going to take one sheet, hold it upright like this, and then you're going to take your next sheet and flip it sideways like this. And then you're going to mark a line here. And now I've done one as a practice, and I marked it crookedly, but that's okay. It's not going to be perfect. So I marked it, the line there, and now we're going to cut it. And I'll show you how to cut this. Okay, I have my line here. So next is to take our little blade, and we're going to take a straight edge. I have a straight edge, and I'm going to go across this repeatedly until, according to the instructions on this cutter, you want to cut about halfway through, place it against a firm edge, and then put pressure on this until it snaps. Alright, got my straight edge lined up as about as good as I can get it. And now to start scoring. And one person said once it starts to peel a little bit, then it's time, then you can go ahead and snap it because you scored a good enough line. Ooh, let's see how this goes. Y'all, I have on my safety glasses too, just in case. No such thing as being too safe, okay? Alright, let's see how this goes. So I've got this up against the edge here. And I have it hanging off just a little bit. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay. No. No. Alright. Let's score some more. Let's score some more. Because it should snap off quite easily, I think. That was not snapping at all. So let's go across it a few more times. All right, maybe that's enough. Let's see. Well, the instructions say do about halfway. I mean, my goodness, that would be a lot. Oh, all right. All right, y'all, so do it some more. When in doubt, do it more. All right. I wonder how many swipes I've taken with this now. It's really starting to get these little spaghetti things going on here. All right, now let's try. Whew. And y'all, I'm putting a fair amount of pressure on this thing too. A lot. And I want it to snap cleanly. I don't want it to break unevenly. That's what I don't want. All right, I'm new at this, so it's my first time doing this. So I'm guessing that I need to go over this probably about 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 times before trying to... Uh-oh, see? Get caught there. Let's try it now. There we go. Success. Oh, and it's pretty smooth. Okay. That took a few times. So we're going to need 2 of these. So go ahead and cut your 2 short pieces, and I will show you how and what we're going to do next. Okay, our next step is, this is going to be our front panel. So on the front, we need to cut this in thirds, or we need to cut a piece off the top and a piece off the bottom. So I want to say we're going to do about 2 inches. And draw a line there. $2, that's going to be the bottom. I'm going to write this bottom, and then 1 inch from the top. We're going to need to cut another piece 1 inch from the top. This front part is going to be our door. All right. And draw a line here, and then we're going to use our straight edge to cut this. I think we'll need to go down it several times. Alright, you guys saw how I did it the first time, so I'm going to cut off 1 inch off the top, 2 inches off the bottom. I'm not going to bore you with me going over this and over and over and over again with the knife. I'll come back to you after I get it cut. We have our 3 pieces for the front. This first one is going to be the little dam that's going to hold in the substrate. This middle section is going to be where we're going to put some hinges on. This is going to be the door that can open up. And then this top section, we're going to put some aeration holes in here. And I believe what I'm going to be using for that is let me show you. A wood burning tool, but it's got this little hot tip on the end, and I'm just gonna put some holes in it there. And I do have a template that I use, and let me get that. This is my template that I made, and I used the very same gun or a heat tool to put all my little holes in here so that I can have it on a little grid. And I'm going to use this as a template to put my holes in here. But also, I need to make sure I save space for the latch. There's going to be like a little small latch that I'll put up here. Now, whenever you're cutting this, I'll see if I can show you this up close. I wasn't cutting the beginning very well, and I've got like a little small piece that, there it is, that didn't break very evenly. So when you're cutting this, make sure you get that beginning cutting part really good. You might have to go over that a little bit extra so that when you snap it off, it breaks evenly. But that's not going to be a big deal. It's really not. So we got these 3 pieces. We got another piece that I've cut that's short. Now I'm going to go over the pieces that I'm going to use, the little pieces of hardware. Let me go grab those right quick. Since this is my practice run, I went on ahead. I have acrylic hinges for the other build that I'm going to do with the plexiglass sheets. But for this practice run, I'm going to be using these right here, these little small hinges, 1 inch by 1 inch hinges. And to latch the door, I got this hooks and staples. We're going to be using that to latch the door closed. So first off, I want to use my template, and I'm going to make some marks on here and try and get them even as I can, and go across the top and make sure I leave a little bit of space for this little hook here. So this right here is going to be our ventilation holes. I'm just going to put like a little circle in each hole that needs to be melted. And then I'm going to take this out to my front porch and melt the plastic. I don't want to do that in the house because it's going to smell really bad. I did that when I was prepping up my isopod bins, and oh my goodness, it stunk so bad of melted plastic in here. So I'm going to take this and do this outside in the fresh air and keep my office from being stunk up. So you're going to take one short wall. I'm going to peel the plastic off of this thing. And then you need 1 full sheet also. So peel the plastic off of both of these. This is where our painter's tape is going to come in handy. So to make it easier to peel off, I take a little piece, fold it over onto itself. That way we have a tab, something to grab onto. So I'll rip off a couple of pieces like this, about 6 inches or so. Take this, roll it back onto itself, about 6 inches. All right, so the full sheet is going to be on the bottom, like so. And we're going to take our painter's tape down the bottom, have it come out like this. And then we're going to take our half sheet and set it on the top side. And I'm going to put some silicone. I'm going to do a small bead along the edge here. And then we're going to set it down, pull our tape up so that it's taped up in a 90-degree angle. And I have some framing squares to help support it. We do that. Maybe push it against the wall so that these have a support. And then we're going to take the tape and then pull it up along the short side. Let me go ahead and prep this up in my caulk gun. I'm going to set it right on the edge. And then we're going to take our tape and pull it up the sides like so. Uh-oh. I already see a little problem here. I have it too far to the left. You want to try and get it as even as you can. Y'all know I don't do pretty and perfect, so don't expect this to be a perfect build. All right, so take my framing squares to help keep this square. And then we're gonna run a bead on the inside here like so. All right, there we go. And we'll leave this and let it dry for, how long should I wait? See, I'm gonna take another piece of tape, cut it in half, fold it over onto itself, and then I'm gonna tape it to the framing square so that it's not at some weird angle or something. Take it across here and down that way. Do the same on this side here and tape it there. Get these lined up, make sure they're good. All right, and then also want to go across here, but I need to get a glove. I don't want to put this on my finger. Let me get a glove, go across it to smooth that out, and I want to make sure it's sealed inside that crack because this is going to be our reservoir. There's going to be water in here, and we want to make sure this is watertight. And I'm going to take my finger and just go right across this like that to make it nice and smooth. And then I'm going to come back this way. Same thing, because I want it smooth all the way to the end. Okay. As I'm doing this, I'm noticing that I need to make sure I do from top to bottom a full swipe with that. There we go. All right, I'm going to leave this alone and let this dry for about 3 hours, and then we're going to come back and do some more assembly on this. See y'all in a bit. I've melted my holes in my top portion. Now all I have to do, you can tell there's a difference between these holes here and these holes here. That's because as it melts, the glue is pushed out into the edge. So I just take this little knife and pop it off like that. So I'm just going to clean these up on both sides. And it'll give it a nice clean look. It's been about 45 minutes, and I went ahead and touched this to check it, and this is all, it's already not even sticky or tacky at all. So I'm going to take this apart and start with the next part of this assembly. Alright, I'm going to peel this tape off very gently, very carefully. So now we're going to take this, then we're going to put it on its side like so. Then we're going to take another full sheet, and it's going to go directly on top like this. And we'll put a bead on and some tape. Okay, now I'm just going to lay this on top. Line it up with the edges as best as I can. And let's maybe use another piece as a support for a minute while I straighten it out. And put a piece of tape there, and a piece here, like so, and then flip it side down, and then run a bead on the inside, and then smooth it out with our finger. It's going to want to move a little bit. Pretty square. All right, I'm going to let that sit for another 40 minutes and then we'll come back and put this top side on. Okay, got the third side on. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of this tape very carefully because this won't be fully cured until 24 hours. So I want to take this off. There we go. You want to take this off. You don't want to leave this tape on there for the 24-hour cure because you could possibly, very possibly, this is just, I just have that extra piece holding this end up. You very possibly pull your silicone right off with that tape. You don't want that to cure. Okay, so now we're going to put it on very carefully. Flip this over on its side. And then I'm going to peel off the sheet and put on the other long side here. I'll start laying a bead. And I found that if I put the caulk gun directly on there, it starts leaving gaps and things. So what I'm doing now, this technique that I'm using, is I'm just hovering it in the air and laying it down like that. It gives me better control and it doesn't leave gaps. Like before, it was leaving like all these huge gaps and I couldn't figure out what the heck. So if you hover it in the air like so, it'll help you control it and it gives you a clean bead. Alright, here we go. Just gonna set this on top very gently, evenly squish it out, press it down firmly, and then my pieces of tape. I'm going to tape this in place and let this sit for another 45 minutes. Lay a bead on the inside here. Go along with the finger and smooth that out. Alright y'all, it's the next morning. Now that this is dried, now we're going to concentrate on the front, the opening and the bottom part of this. So I want to mark off where I want the uniseal to go, and I'm going to put mine in this far right hand corner here. I'm going to have my uniseal here, and this is going to be where we're going to drain the excess water from. And I'm also going to mark for the hinges. And for the hinges, I want to just kind of measure, have them come in about 1 inch. And I'm going to mark the bottom holes. Put that in place. Mark my 2 bottom holes. So I'll drill out those holes. And my uniseal here, I'm going to put down here. I hope I'm not putting it too close to the edge, but I want to mark for that. Got a piece of scrap wood here, and I have a 1/2 inch drill bit in my drill here. And go ahead and drill this. I'm going to be going very slowly because I don't want to crack this. That's the last thing I want to happen after all the cutting that I did. I do not want this to crack. So I'm going to be taking this slow. And instead of boring you guys with this, I'm going to go ahead and drill all of these holes out, and then I'm going to come back to you. I have most of the hole drilled out until it started creaking and cracking. So rather than risking that I break this, I decided to go ahead and hook up my rotary tool, and I put the a grinding stone on there, and then I'm just going to grind out these edges. Now I have this on the lowest setting. This one is variable, has variable speeds, and it's got a very low speed, and that's what I'm going to be using to grind this out. Hopefully this works and I don't ruin this. So all right, here we go. See, it's very, very low. Make sure you wear safety glasses when you're doing this. And now we can take this protective paper off. Got all our nice holes drilled and no cracks. Now we can move on to the next step. So the next step is taking our Uniseal and putting it in its hole. We're gonna take some silicone, put it around the Uniseal and put it in. Put a small bead all the way around. This right here is going to help our waterproofness. And that's going to be in the bottom right hand side. So make sure you have it flipped on the side that you want it on. And push the Uniseal in to its hole. Give this a twist. And that'll help spread your silicone all around. And now we're just going to leave this alone and let it dry. Okay, our next step is we're going to silicone in the bottom section. So I'm going to take our small bead, go through it just like we have all the others, and then we're going to smooth it out with our finger. Make a nice clean line. Okay. And up there. Our finger and smooth it out here and all along here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tape, pull it around the front side to close this up, to keep it a little tight. Pull it across the top and then pull it taut. And then around like so. All right, now let's take this tape off. Gotta glue this on, but before I do that, I want to put on the little hinge, the little hook and staple that's gonna go here. So I'm gonna measure for that, drill for it, which I could have been doing that. Drill for it and then put it on here. All right, I want to try and get this about as centered as I can get it. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to, because it does stick out, you can cover this with silicone, or you can take a pair of angle cutters and cut that off, which I just might do that. I might use my Dremel tool and cut that off and then put a glob of silicone on the back of that. You can see it's just a little nub now. And I'm just gonna take some silicone and cover that up. Okay, our next step is to silicone this in place, and this is the top with the vent holes. I'm gonna get another glove, just do the silicone like we have been doing, and then I'm gonna run the tape from here to here and then hold that in place for 45 minutes. Then we're gonna take this and water test it and make sure it's watertight. Alright y'all, we're getting closer and closer to finishing this thing. Okay, now I want to take this outside for a water test. So this is how this is going to work. You need a two-way valve, the Uniseal, and a small piece of airline tubing. So you take a piece of airline tubing and put it on this section here. A little bit hanging off, I'm going to snip that. And then this will insert into our Uniseal, and the way this valve works, when you open this valve, the water will spill out this bottom part, which would be on the outside. So take this, that goes in there like so, and now we're going to take this and water test it. Let's go outside. Moment of truth. My biggest fear is this thing is going to leak like a sieve. Wow. Hold almost a gallon. So far I don't see any leaks. Got this thing all dried up. Now to line this door up. So I'm gonna put this here like so, and it's too long and it's crooked, and I'm okay with that. So what I'm gonna do is put it in there as close to as I can, and then I'm gonna take my marker and draw a line from one end to the other. I'm going to show you guys this red line. You can see how far off it is. Let me pull you in close. See how far off that is? See how that line goes up, 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 up? Yeah. What I'm thinking, what I'm going to do is take my rotary tool and cut this off with a cutoff wheel. I think that'll be a lot faster than trying to cut it by hand. And plus, with this being so tiny, I don't think I'll be able to grip it enough to snap it off. And this looks like it's going to fit in there very, very well. And I'm wondering if maybe I could have designed this a little bit better here in the front, because this is still kind of, I don't know, it's not in there very good. I think maybe on my next one I'll do a different type of door latch. Maybe I'll do one that the whole top part will have the holes, the vent holes, and maybe down the sides, and this whole piece will open up, at least right up until we get to the reservoir part. I'm going to start off by putting the bottom portion of the hinge on. Oh no. That's not good. Looks like the holes that are pre-drilled are too big. You know what? I think what I'll do, I have some acrylic hinges that I've purchased. Luckily, I have them right here on hand. I think I'm going to have to switch over and use those instead. Alright, these hinges are pretty big. I think I'm just going to use one. I don't want to put two on there and put too much strain on this little tiny door that I have here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug these holes up, but I'm going to plug them up from the inside. Make sure I'm putting this on the right way, so I always flex it and bend it and make sure I have it on the way I want it on. And I want it on, that's right here in the center. What I'll do is set my timer for about 45 minutes, and then we'll come back and glue the door on. My hinge is dry. I'm going to go ahead and tear off the paper. And then I'm going to glue the other side. Y'all, I'm going to be honest. I am kind of nervous about this whole deal. But this piece right here that to me is not, it's not, I don't know how to say it. It's not sturdy. Yeah, it's not sturdy at all. Like I said, this one is my first one, so it's my practice run for the real deal. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue the door, or silicone the door, on the other side. I just want to make sure I have it lined up as best I can. Put my silicone on this side of the hinge, and then let that sit up for about 45 minutes, and then I'll come back. Get this lined up as best as I can. There we go. And at the same time, I'm not quite so confident about these screws in this anymore, so I'm also gonna silicone the other part of this staple in place too. So I'll also go ahead and do that, and then I'll let this dry, and then I'll come back to you. Right, the little closing hasp is dry, the hinge is dry. I'm finding it a little awkward and difficult to get this closed properly. So I'm trying not to break it. There we go. So that works. Not perfect, but it works. And then when I want to open it, grab this, open that there like that. Now the last step, y'all, the very last step is to go ahead and put on the top, which I think that once I put the top on, that'll help this little tiny piece here gain some rigidity. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this off and silicone it on. Now, I've seen some videos where people just put this whole thing together all at one time, which I may do that next time, because doing it this way, it feels like it's the long way to do it. Then I'll let this dry for 45 minutes, and then I'll silicone it all from the inside, and then we'll showcase the whole thing. All right, everybody. The glue has set. This build is complete. Check it out. I cannot say that this was the easiest build. It was a challenge, but I love a challenge. I cannot wait to build the next one. And you guys, I'm going to build a small stand for this because I'm not that sure about how much weight it can hold weight-wise, like when I fill it up with plants and things. So stay tuned for that. We're gonna do some more with this. We're gonna make it pretty on the inside. We're not done. So thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.